What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Pokey Office. My name is Colin. It's no secret that FOMO happens a lot in the Pokemon space, right? Like, you see a card and then the price starts rising and you don't have that card yet. So then you start to get a little bit jealous of all the people buying that card. And all of a sudden the price just jumped another $50. And now it's like, oh, do I really want to spend that much money? But I really want that card and maybe it will never come down again. And your mind just starts racing, and then you just decide to pull the trigger. You grab the card, or you grab that booster box that you needed an extra one of, and then the market settles down, the price comes and corrects itself, and you are caught with your pants down because you just overspent on that Grail card or on that booster box that you wanted. And then if it's a negative experience like I just described, you get a little bit salty about it because you overspent, you bought into the hype, and we're all left a little bit worse for wear. I feel like it's happened to most people in the hobby. It certainly has happened to me. There's no question about it. One example, like I paid a lot of money for a Giratina V alt art from Lost Origin in a Gem Mint 10. Kind of bought into that hype train 6 to 9 months ago when Sword and Shield was really booming. On the flip side, that purchase now actually doesn't look all that bad because it went up and down and I wasn't feeling good during the valley, but now that card's going back up and it doesn't feel so bad anymore. And this is where if you attach all of your emotional investment of it towards the value of that card, it's probably not going to feel the best. But it was the card I wanted, like my favorite card out of Sword and Shield era, the one that I can't pull. And I just decided to pull the trigger. And there's no question, I fully admit, like I bought into the FOMO. But I still really wanted that card, which takes a little bit of that emotional attachment out of seeing the value rise and fall. But what I just described, I feel like happens to a lot of us. And with all of this FOMO happening with Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolution and all the stuff happening in the Pokemon space right now, it's definitely concerning. But what is FOMO? I recognize it's fear of missing out. You probably know that better than I do. But how does this all happen? I see it happening in kind of three ways. Number one, from what I see in the comments, FOMO happens. It's totally directed at the value of cards or the value of sealed product. The value starts rising. Our brains start going crazy because we see the value rising. I really want that. I see my friends or I see my colleagues buying more of it. I need to do that as well. And so then you spend the money. So there's a level of FOMO happening as soon as the value goes up. What makes the value go up? Some comments would say that it's social media influencers and YouTubers just throwing hype trains out all the time, which we're going to talk about in a second. Number two, we can see that there's some market manipulation happening, which I see lots of comments in Pokemon YouTube space always about Pokemon market manipulation and cards being manipulated, sets being manipulated, and stores selling overpriced, all this stuff. Maybe that's true. And third, there might be an actual place in time where demand just exceeds the market supply and the market expectations. There might be a time where demand actually exceeds the supply, and that just leads to a price increase. Maybe it's a little bit of all three. Let's talk about number one for a second. So many comments say that Pokemon YouTubers, social media influencers, just continue to pump up Pokemon, hype up all these sets, and that's the driving force behind all of this is what's happening, especially now with Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolution. I don't discount that 100%, but I think just throwing a blanket statement over like that is not a very good take. Here's the reason. The last time I remember a social media person actually like severely influencing a card was Pokey Rev. And he said something along the lines in one of his videos, Umbreon V I like better than the Umbreon VMAX. And we watched the Umbreon V alt art from Evolving Skies go whoop, all the way up. and then it slowly started bleeding back down, but there was just crazy hype. And that was already right in the midst of a lot of those cards: Evolving Skies alt arts, Chilling Reign alt arts, Fusion Strike alt arts. Basically all alt arts in Sword and Shield era were on the rise then, and that Umbreon V really took off. But here is the truth to that. Pokey Rev has a greater influence than almost everyone else combined in the Pokemon space. I know that's not true entirely, but he is a huge influence on the Pokemon space. Now, you take someone like me, and if I just throw out hype trains all the time, which you could say that I do, but I typically like everything Pokemon. I like being positive about the Pokemon space. I am positive about the Pokemon space, and I love sharing my joy about Pokemon in my videos. So if you think I'm throwing hype, well, that's your prerogative for sure. But my typical video gets like 2,000, 3,000, maybe 5,000 views. Like, that's not going to really change the direction of hype in the Pokemon space. Let's pretend that all of us, like, kind of middle ground YouTubers in the Pokemon space, like 5,000 to 30,000 subscribers, even up to 100,000 subscribers. If we all just throw hype, it would probably manipulate the market a little bit. There's no question about it. If we all started pumping Surging Sparks even more, could. What happens if we all started pumping Shrouded Fable? Does it actually change the market? Do people start liking Shrouded Fable just because a bunch of YouTubers said that it's awesome? I'm not convinced, because the market has spoken already that Shrouded Fable isn't that great of a set. And to be fair, I think Shrouded Fable is actually an okay set, but I see what the market is actually saying. I love some of the illustration rares in Shrouded Fable. I actually really like the Cassiopeia special illustration rare in Shrouded Fable. But I recognize what the market says as based on what I hear in the comments of my videos, what I see sets selling for, what my live stream sales do based on the sets that I'm trying to sell. Like, I know it's a small view. It's a little bit of a tunnel vision view, but I think it really describes the bigger market as well. Shrouded Fable was not popular. My videos about Shrouded Fable were not popular. My live stream sales when I was selling Shrouded Fable were not big. Compare that to Surging Sparks, where my live stream sales went kaboom, where my videos are doing better than the last 6 months of videos I've come out with. There's seriously some level of where the market is actually just really growing in the Pokemon space because Surging Sparks is really popular. And that doesn't have anything to do with me or anyone else as a middle ground YouTuber that is hyping it up. So can YouTubers do the hype train, pump up a new set? Of course they can. There's no question about it. But I think this is where we're going with this video for the rest of it. This is something different. The second one, and we won't spend too much time on it, but number 2 is that people manipulate the market. And there's no question about it. But usually it's pretty easy to spot. You see on TCG Player, you see some sales coming up, and the sales are like all the exact same price. They happen over a span of like 1 or 2 days. And, oh, this card was selling for $50, and now there's been 8 sales in the last 6 hours, all for $72.13. That seems a little strange. Seems a little strange. Your spidey senses start to go off. You can see it on eBay too, where like there's big prices listed, but maybe there's only one actual sale of that price and the rest of them don't have any bids. There's some signs. And maybe there's some more like in-depth market manipulation that happens. There could be. But yet again, I feel like what's happening with Surging Sparks and beyond is completely separate from that market manipulation. So I'm kind of going against the grain of some of the comments I've been seeing, and the Pokemon FOMO is actually, in my opinion, driven by market demand for Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolution. There is such a big hype in the Pokemon space, and I don't think it's FOMO. There's a little bit of FOMO happening. It's a combined effort. Like, let's take Pikachu, for instance. Monday, I made a video saying I bought the Pikachu for 520 Canadian dollars. Well, as I'm recording this video, the market price is like 580 American dollars. It's looking really good, like I made a really good purchase. But is there FOMO or is that market demand? The crazy thing is, on that specific card, is that there's still sales happening at these crazy prices, both on eBay, on TCG Player, on Facebook groups, all over the place. This card continues to sell. There's not enough supply of that card, and the price continues to increase, and people are still buying it. Like we talked about earlier, that at some point, the demand is going to cease, and that card is going to correct itself. But at what point? At what point? We saw it with the Greninja and Twilight Masquerade, where all of a sudden, there wasn't enough of this card. People wanted it and wanted it and wanted it. The demand started growing, and now, well, that card isn't coming back down to $140 anytime soon. Not in my opinion. Like, it already did correct itself into the $300 to $400 range. It corrected itself. That wasn't FOMO. That was a legitimate demand for products where the demand exceeded the supply and the price rose in correlation with that. I just think what we're seeing in the Pokemon space, and with Prismatic Evolution coming up, people came back in from 151. People got kind of bored with Twilight, with Shrouded Fable, with Stellar Crown, but now Surging Sparks, people are excited about it. People are excited about that Pikachu. People are really excited about the new Eevee set coming out, Prismatic Evolution, and that shows. It's not just a hype show when Pokemon Center sells out of the Elite Trainer boxes in a matter of hours. That's not just YouTubers spouting off. Anyways, on to the topic at hand with Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolution. I just bought new cases of booster boxes for Surging Sparks for $195 Canadian each, plus tax, and I still think it's a decent buy. That's just for me. That's not for you. You can do whatever you need to do, because I just see such a demand for Surging Sparks. I need more product for my live streams. I legitimately don't have enough. So I had to go buy more. And that's the current asking price. It's another video to be had, but is Pokemon printing enough? Are they intentionally not printing enough so that the prices start driving more towards MSRP? Could be. Could not be. What's your opinion on that? Let me know down in the comments below. But I really do think that Pokemon is in a space that we have never seen before. I don't even think it relates to the COVID times. I think this is bigger. That might be a spicy take. That might be the truth. It might just be my opinion. I've been wrong before. But that's where I'm at. That's the truth about FOMO in the Pokemon space. It can be manufactured. There's no question about it. But sometimes it's not FOMO. It's actual demand exceeding the supply. That's all I got for you today. I'll be back for a live stream nearing the end of this week. Looking forward to it, and thanks for watching. Appreciate all your support. If you like the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment. I will see you on the next one. Peace!